So hi everyone, good afternoon. This is my video report in ethics and the title of my topics is Lesson 6 Culture, How It Defines Moral Behavior. What is culture? Culture is the integrated pattern of human knowledge, beliefs, and behaviors. This consists of language, ideas, customs, morals, laws, taboos, institutions, tools, techniques, and works of art, rituals, and other capacities and habits acquired by a person as a member of society. The magisterium of the Church explains culture as the set of means used by mankind to become more virtuous and reasonable in order to become fully human. In its fullest sense, culture merits opening up to the divine and ultimately to a religious dimension. Based on this church definition, it is clear that culture is meant to serve human persons. So if we say culture, it is a complex system of shared knowledge, beliefs, and behavior that shapes how people live. So it includes language, customs, values, and arts. From a religious perspective, culture is seen as a tool for human growth and development, ultimately connecting people to something greater than themselves. Sociologists categorize culture in material and non-material culture. Material culture is the physical object that a society produces tools, streets, homes, and toys, to name a few, while the non-material culture consists of language, values, rules, knowledge, and meaning shared by members of society. Sociologists divides culture into two types, the material culture and non-material culture. So if we say material culture, it is a physical objects like homes and tools, while the non-material culture is an intangible aspect like language, values, and beliefs, but both are essential parts of a society's shared way of life. Culture is passed on the next generation by learning, not through the genes or heredity. Culture includes all human phenomena which are not purely results of human genetics. So, culture is learned, not inherited. So, it's transmitted from one generation to the next through teaching and social interaction, not through biological inheritance. Essentially, it encompasses everything human that isn't purely genetics. So, if you see culture, you can learn it when you are little and it is not inherited. So, if we say culture, natututunan to hanggang sa paglaki mo, mula pagkabata mo, na kasanayan mo na ito, hindi ito nakukuha dahil sa genes or dahil sa family mo, kundi natututunan mo to habang bata, or in short, nakagisnan mo na, kaya na-apply mo siya sa sarili mo. The human person and culture. As a moral agent, you are born into a culture, a factual reality you have not chosen. You are not born nothing. It may be said that the Aristotelic domestic tradition is the one dominant, if not the most dominant culture. This Aristotelic domestic culture is a Greco-Roman culture, which has influenced and shaped the moral life of those who have been persuaded that there is God, that a divine order and law keep and govern the world, which includes you. So may mga tao na sinisilang na andyan na ang kanilang culture. So which is katotohanan hindi pinipili na pagkasilang sa kanila andyan na yan hanggang sa paglaki nila. So mayroon tayong tinatawag na Aristotelico-Thomistic tradition, which is isang dominant culture na nagmula sa Greco-Roman na kultura. So ito ay nakaka-impluensya sa mga moralidad ng mga tao na naniniwala sa Diyos at sa isang banal na kaayusan. But what happens when there are different cultures with their own different views of man's direction and destiny? For instance, the Greek culture introduced the idea of perfections. For numbers, a perfect thing is 100%. In terms of figures, it is a whole circle. A perfect thing has no privation, no lack, no absence of being. What if a new culture redefines perfection as any created and present model, which may be created remolded like clay? Any change in the model may be perceived as the creation of a new model of perfection, not the actualization of what was lacking. Every created model is a perfection it its own right. Ngunit, ano nga ba mangyayari kung may magkakaiba-ibang kultura ang mga tao o may magkakaibang pananaw sa mundo o buhay. So halimbawa na lang sa konsepto ng perpekto sa culture ng Griego ay iba sa mga ibang kultura. May mga kultura nagbibigay ng ibang kahulugan sa perpekto na nagpapakita ng pagkakaiba-iba ng pananaw sa mundo. Inculturation, and acculturation. Cultures change or evolve. There are various ways by which culture change, by inculturation, and by acculturation. Inculturation is a process of learning from infancy till death, the components of life in one's culture. The contents of this learning include both the material and non-material culture. The latter refers to values, while the former refers to tools such as a who or mass. In the said process of learning, a person grows into a culture, acquires competence in that culture, and that culture takes truth in that person and becomes the cognitive map, the term of reference for acting. So, if we say enculturation, it's a lifelong process of learning one's culture, encompassing both intangible or material and intangible non-material aspect. So, it's how individuals acquire cultural competence and internalize their culture's values and worldview. So, if we say enculturation, it is a long process or pangmatagalang proseso kung paano pag-aralan ang isang kultura. For instance, African girls grow up learning that as a woman, she has less rights and privileges as the African man. For instance, a man can marry more than one woman while she cannot. While the African wife cannot share her love with other men, the man can share his with other women in the system. It turns women into a appendage, a property of the man, one of the man's laborers. In some African cultures, girls are raised to believe they have fewer rights and privileges than men, so leading to unequal gender dynamics such as polygamy and the objectification of women. So, sa African cultures, so yung mga babae ay pinalaki na naniniwala na may kaunti silang rights kumpara sa mga lalaki. So, naglilid to ng unequal gender dynamics or gender equality sa kanila. Enculturation, an anthropological term, was coined by G.M. Herskovits. Margaret Mead however, was the one who defined the term as the process of learning a culture in all its uniqueness and particularity. So, Margaret Mead refined the anthropological term enculturations, or original coined by G.M. Herskovits, so to describe the process of learning a culture unique and specific characteristics. So, si Margaret Mead, it is a one anthropology na nag-aral tungkol sa enculturations. Another marriage practice that shows that the African woman is the property of the husband and his family is levirate marriage. Levirate marriage is the marriage between the widow and the brother of her deceased husbands. Therefore, at the husband's death, the woman is generally expected to stay on property of the family, without any choice in the matter. She raises children to immortalize the deceased husband's name. So, levirate marriage is a custom where a widow marries her deceased husband's brother, often without her consent, to maintain family lineage and continue the husband's legacy. So, if we say levirate marriage, ito ay isang pagpapakasal ng widow or balo sa kapatid ng namayapa niyang asawa para maipagpatuloy yung legacy or mga nasimulan ng kanyang asawa or kanilang family. Enculturation refers to the missiological process in which the gospel is rooted in a particular culture and the latter is transformed by its introduction to Christianity. In the Special Assembly of the Synod in 1985, Pope John Paul II defined enculturation in Redemptorist mission, the intimate transformation of authentic cultural values through their integration in Christianity and the insertion of Christianity in the various human cultures. So, enculturation, ito ay pagsasama ng gospel sa isang particular na culture. So, na nagresulta sa pagbabago ng kapwa, ng Kristyanismo at ng kultura mismo. This means that enculturation is characterized by a dual movement. Example, a dialogic movement towards cultures via the incarnation of the Gospels and the transmission of its values, and a movement towards the church that involves
the incorporation of values that come from the cultures the latter encounters. Therefore, a fruitful cross-fertilization can follow.
So, enculturation is a two-way process. The gospel adapts to and interacts with different cultures, while those cultures in turn enrich the church. So, this exchange leads to mutual growth and understanding. So, if we say enculturation, may two-way process to, which is yung gospels nag-a-adapt and nag-interact siya sa different cultures, which is those cultures in turn nakapayaman niya ang isang simbahan na nag-exchange to upang magkaroon sila ng mutual growth and pagkakaintindihan sa isa't isa.
In other words, enculturation raises two related problems, that of the evangelization of cultures, and that of the culture understanding of the gospel. It was this movement that led Pope John Paul II to say in 1982, the synthesis between culture and faith is not only a requirement of culture, but also of faith. Faith that does not become culture is not fully accepted, nor entirely reflected upon or faithfully experienced. So this means that enculturation is not an action but a process that unfolds over time. One, one that is active and based on a mutual recognition and dialogue, a critical mind and insight, faithfulness and conversion, transformation and growth, and renewal and innovation.
So, tinutugunan ng enculturation ang parihong pagbabahagi ng gospel sa iba't ibang culture at ang pag-uunawa sa gospel sa pamagitan ng mga lenses ng mga kulturang ito. So, ito ay isang patuloy, pagbabago-bagong proseso na magkakasamang palitan, critical, reflection, at pagbabago, hindi sa iisang pangyayari.
Enculturation is a two-way process. It roots the gospel in a culture and introduces the transformed culture to Christianity. For example, to root the gospel in the African culture is to initiate two events. The first event is to transform the African culture of oppressing women in a culture where men and women are treated as a human person equal in dignity, rights, and privileges.
So, enculturation is a reciprocal process where the gospel message shapes a culture, and that culture in turn enriches Christian faith. So, for instance, applying the gospel in Africa might involve transforming oppressive cultural practices towards women into ones that uphold gender equality. So, enculturation, process to ng gospel message which is nagsishape sa isang culture. And yung culture na yan ay napapatibay at napapayaman niya ang Christian faith o ang paniniwala nila sa kay God. So, sa Africa, nag-evolve din ang transforming sa cultural practice nila towards women ones that uphold gender equality. Because sa Africa, mayroon silang gender equality which is lumalaki ang mga kababaihan sa kanilang paniniwala na mas kaunti o mas maliit ang kanilang rights kumpara sa mga lalaki. Kaya nagkakaroon sila ng gender equality or gender dynamics.
The second event is to develop the African culture's latent potential towards the human development of the woman, created like her male counterpart in the image and likeness of God. The other aspect is to introduce the woman and her transformed culture to Christianity, for example, by allowing the woman a meaningful place among the agents of enculturation.
So this second event involves empowering women in African culture, recognizing their inherent or likas na dignity, karangalan, and potential as a God's creation. So it also means actively including women in the process of adapting Christianity to the African context. So this is second events nag-involve nag-empowered sa mga women sa Africa which is about sa kanilang gender equality. So nagre-recognize din to tungkol sa kanilang inherent at sa kanilang dignidad o karangalan bilang isa silang God's creation. So, kasi sa Africa, mayroon nga silang gender equality which is kunti lang ang rights ng mga kababaihan kumpara sa mga kalalakihan. Kaya importante na ma-empowered sila na mayroon din silang sapat na rights. Kumbaga, mas kung ano ang rights ng mga kalalakihan ay meron din silang rights para hindi na sila minamaliit ng mga iba't ibang tao o iba't mga kalalakihan sa Africa.
Acculturation is another big term. It is the cultural modification of an individual, group, or people by adapting to or borrowing traits from another culture. It is also explained as the merging of cultures as the result of prolonged contact. Immigrants to the United States of America become unculturated to African life. Refugees and indigenous peoples likewise adapt to the culture of the dominant majority.
So acculturation is the process of cultural change resulting from contact between different groups. So this can involve adopting traits from another culture is a blending of cultures over time, as seen with immigrants, refugees, and indigenous population adapting to a dominant culture. So if we say acculturation, it is a process which is culture change resulting from contact between. So, isa itong proseso na kung saan nagkakaroon ng pagbabago sa isang kultura between sa iba't ibang grupo. So, this can involve adapting traits from another culture or blending cultures over time. So, meron din mga immigrants, refugees, at saka iba't indigenous population na nag-a-adapt sa kanilang dominant na culture.
There are cultural practices that should be stopped because of the painful harm they do. The practice of human sacrifices has somewhat been stopped, but the circumcision of women still goes on in some parts of the world. Like Africa, some approaches have been successful, like what one NGO tried to introduce in Africa. It is called a buying in, to gradually stop the circumcision of women. The approach was to buy in, like introducing to the place good health facility and other forms of assistance to alleviate their economic hardships in return to their stopping the practice.
Harmful cultural practices like female genital mutilation o pagputol sa ari ng babae. So, it still exists in some parts of the world. So, one approach to stopping such a practices is to provide economic and social support to communities, creating incentives for change. So, this buying in strategy aims to gradually shift cultural norms through positive intervention. So, mayroon tayong tinatawag na genital mutilation, which is pagputol ng ari sa babae. So, imagine that ang dinadanas ng mga babae sa ibang lugar. So, pinuputol ang kanilang ari. At nag-i-exist pa nito sa ibang parts ng mundo, which is kailangan ipatigil ang ganong mga practices para ma-provide yung economic and social support. So, that's all. Thank you.